In this video, we're going to take an updated look at the visibility and ghosting options in 3D Coat, as there have been a number of additions recently. So before I go any further, I need to mention what ghosting is for anyone who may be new to 3D Coat. If you come over to the Voxtree layer panel here in the Sculpt Workspace, the second icon from the left is your ghosting icon. You'll notice that it makes your object transparent. However, if you go to the top of the user interface in this list menu, you have options for ghosting that dictate how 3D Coat responds. Do you want the application to lock your ability to select and your ability to manipulate the object? If so, you would leave it at the default option here, don't pick, don't act. But then you have other options that allow you to do just the reverse or somewhere in between. Okay, so I'll leave it at the default for now. As you might guess, if you have a large number of layers, it can get quite tedious trying to ghost a large number of these layers. And then go through one at a time and unghost them when you're done. So you have new options now to quickly unghost all. Let me go ahead and ghost this one again. And we have an option to invert ghosted. So it's going to ghost everything but the currently ghosted volume. Okay, and go back, invert ghosted. I'll go back to this menu, and I want to mention that this option, unghost all and toggle ghosting, I have personally assigned my own hotkeys to. These two options are already assigned by default, but these others are not. You might want to make your own personal assignments by going to the End key on your keyboard, clicking on that, and then you can make the assignment. Let's go ahead and unghost all. Two options in that menu basically do the same thing as the user coming to the Voxtree layer panel and clicking on the icon. One is to toggle visibility, the other is to toggle ghosting. Now, why this is here is so that you can assign a hotkey to it and then use those hotkeys to perform that function without having to come to the Voxtree layer panel. So let's try that. This object, Control G, I'll click that again. Let's choose a boot here by hovering over this object and hitting the H key on your keyboard. That will quickly pick the object, and it will also bring it up in the Voxtree layer panel. Control G to toggle ghosting, or Shift V, and you can see how that works. All right, now let's go to the geometry menu. Isolate is fairly descriptive. It will hide or ghost all objects except the currently selected one. So for example, I have the shoe selected, and when I isolate, it's going to perform the same function as holding down the Alt key and clicking on the visibility icon. So let's try that. Once more, the benefit of having it in the menu is the ability to assign a hotkey to it and invoke this option while your cursor is still over the object. Now, if we want to isolate the ghosting, we can choose this option. Again, these two are assigned by default, these two hotkey combinations. Let's isolate the ghosting. Shift G and Shift G again. Okay, Shift G. And then if we want to invert it, we can do that here. Before we conclude, I want to point out two other things to keep in mind. One is if you are hovering over an object and you use that option to toggle visibility, then it's going to be a bit confused as to whether you are toggling the visibility of the object you have selected in the Voxtree layer panel or the one that you're actually hovering over. So for example, you can see here, this piece of garment is what I actually have selected. If I hover over the shoulder pad though, and I hit Shift V, you can see it hides that object. But the problem with doing that is, again, it confuses 3D Coat because on one hand, you're telling it to toggle what's selected, and the other one, you're telling it to toggle what you're hovering over. So be careful to keep your cursor away and not to toggle that, because there is no way currently to toggle the visibility of that object back unless you find it inside the Voxtree layer panel. So let's say you have a number of objects in the scene hidden and you want to quickly make them all visible. What you can do is right click and then choose Show All Hidden Volumes or Show Hidden Volumes in the subtree. So let's go and do that now. Let's right click and choose Show All Hidden Volumes. And with that, we will conclude this updated look at the visibility and ghosting options in 3D Coat. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.